Morning. So this is going to be part 2 of the Canvas series. And we're going to be focusing on drawing circular, I think the correct terminology is radial gradient. We're going to be drawing the text, and we're going to be stroking on text, which is basically just the outline. And then we're going to be drawing an image. So let's go ahead and get started with draw the radial gradient. Go ahead and put the circle. But I think most of you probably knows what radial means. Okay, so there's going to be basically kind of 3 subparts to this, just to kind of segment it in your head. And the first part we're going to do is actually draw the circle gradient. So I'm going to go ahead and get that started up here. And do var, so we're declaring it a variable, and for whatever reason it does not work with let or const, so you just stick with var. And we're going to name our variable. And for this, we're going to name strokeGradient. And we're going to do the document get element by ID. And our ID is going to be the same thing as the previous tutorial. It was my canvas. Okay, so now we're going to do our next line, which is declaring a variable for the context. It's var ctx, and all that is the variable name. It's pretty uniform for that because it stands for context, and that's pretty much, a good indicator for context. strokeGradient, which is again the variable name that we declared up here, and we're going to do get context. And it's going to be 2D. And I'll go over the Word document explaining some of these components after I get done with this tutorial. I'm trying to do this a different way where I actually do the stuff and then explain it. May or may not be better. Okay, so now that's one subpart. Okay, we're just declaring, we're going to draw the circle gradient. So now the second subpart is, actually I forgot one. We're going to declare the gradient with a variable named gradient. We're going to do ctx, and we're going to create radial gradient. ctx is a reference to here. Create radial gradient is the command to do this within JavaScript. Open parentheses. These numbers, I'll explain in just a second. Okay, so what this represents, I'll go ahead and comment it out here. Oops, that's not what I wanted. The numbers represent the X, Y, R, X1, Y1, and R1. X and Y is, X is, side to side. The Y is up and down. The radial, the R is the radial, like the center. And the X1 and the Y1 and the R1, I think, are the stopping points with it. Geometry is not my thing. So if you are better at it, then you might have a better understanding of it than I do. I just put numbers in and see what works. Let's see. So now here's the second subpart. Go ahead and indent it a little bit. And then this is going to be to create the gradient. And what we do there, we do gradient, add color stop. Now, color stops can only be anywhere between a number of 0 and 1. So that can be 0.25, it can be 0.33, it can be whatever you want. It just has to be between 0 and 1. We're going to give it a color. I'm doing blue. And then we're going to add our second gradient stop. Color, add color. I guess it keeps going. Okay. And then we're going to add my second color is white. Okay. And now we are going to do our third subpart, which is to fill the gradient. To do that, we do our CTX, which stands for context. Fill style equals gradient. CTX, fill rect equals 10, 10, 150, and 80. And I'll go ahead and comment out here what that means. And that is X, Y, width, and height. I'm sure that's right. Width and height, I think. I don't think it's height and width. Okay, we'll find out. So that is how you can create a circle gradient, or radial gradient is the correct term. So let's go ahead and check this out. Open with live server. Okay, so we have a radial gradient. It's the rectangle shape, but you can see that the center is darker than the outer, so it is radial. If we change this to different, kind of like I'll do 0.25 for the color stop. Let's see what that does. Okay, it's a little smaller. My suggestion on, again, geometry is not my thing. So for my way of doing this, it's just playing with it and figuring out what I like. I don't really have a clear explanation on that. But this is how you do a radial gradient. Let's see. So let's look in here. Let's go over that in a different capacity reading this. So here's a snippet of text that does the same thing similar to what I've done before. So just as a recap, we declared a variable by using the word var. Here is our variable name. We are telling our document to get an element by ID. And up here, as you may remember from the first video, we declared our ID with a canvas, our ID for the canvas up here. We can name this whatever we want. My canvas just works. We can put our width and our height of our canvas at whatever we want. We can apply what kind of a border styling we want. Now canvas is, just as a quick recap, all it is like, you have an artist has a canvas, a painter has a canvas to paint upon. So this is all the canvas is. It's like our canvas for us to paint on, and our JavaScript paints on it. And we can customize this whatever we want. I can make that with a 500, and it's wider. And we can customize the stuff however we want it. This is the X coordinate, Y coordinate. So you can see it's a little offset. If I change this to 0 and 0, it should be right on the beginning of it. And it is not. So what did I do wrong? Oh, I did the wrong thing. This is what I was wanting to change. Okay, so now it's right adjacent to the border. You can't really tell because it's got that white, but it is closer to the border. So those are the different things that you can play with it. And just to get a better understanding of it, my recommendation is just to play with it. So you can see how that changes that by changing 5 to 50. Let's see if I make that 100 from 100 to 1,000. Okay. And let's see if I change down here my width and my height. So let's make it from 150 to 1150. And shoot. Let's make it from 80 to 1180. Okay, so now it's now bigger than my canvas. So you can see how you can play with this stuff. What was the size on my canvas? 500 by 400. So let's make this 400 for the width because it's 500 for the canvas. and 300 for the height because the canvas is 400. Okay, so you can just play with it to your heart's content. There we go. Until you get to whatever it is your goal is. Okay, so that's how you do a radial gradient. Let me see if there's anything else on that Word document to cover. I don't think so. Some of the terminology that was used. Okay, so like I said, var to use to declare the variable, name it whatever you want. Gradient is another variable that we declared. So var can be used to declare whatever variable you want. That's the variable name. Var is for this gradient is declaring what we are doing with here, the variable name, and it's called here. Let's see. Color stops. Let's see. Okay, must have 2 or more color stops using color stop. So the color stop, what it does is specifies the color stops, specifies position along the gradient. Gradient positions can be anywhere between 0 and 100. Like I said, it can be 0.22, 0.33, whatever. Just has to be between 0 and 1. To use the gradient, you set the fill style or stroke style to gradient, which is down here. You draw the shape, which is down here, and the coordinates that you want. Okay, so that is radial gradient. So let's move on to drawing text, I believe. Yeah. Okay, we're going to draw some text now. So we're going to go ahead and do it. We're going to declare a variable using the word var. Our variable name is going to be text content equals document get element by ID. The name of our ID is, again, the canvas up here, which is my canvas. It does have to be in quotes. I use double quotes just out of habit. I don't know if it matters on single or double quotes. You can try on single. If it doesn't work, then go back to double. Declaring a var of the context with CTX. And the text content is to get context 2D. So text content refers to this variable right here. Let's see. So CTX font equals, we're going to declare the size of our font is 30 pixels and our styling for the font, which is Arial. And now we do CTX fill the text. And this is what we want to fill our text. So that can be what we want it to say and the location, the X and Y coordinates. So hello world. X coordinate is, we'll put 10 and then 50. And save that. I forgot a comma. Nope, that's not a comma now, is it? Okay, save that. And where is it? Did I mess up? Probably. Var, let's see, document get element by ID. Oh, okay, I got a typo here. So I misspelled content when I declared my variable name. You see that? There's no N and there's an N there. So those are the little things to look for when something's not working. Look for those little typos and stuff. And it's still not working. Why is it not working? Fire, text content, document, get element, my ID, my canvas, var, ctx, text content, get context, equals 2D, or 2D, ctx font equals 30 pixels, Arial, ctx fill text is hello world, comma, so let me pause this while I figure it out. I figured it out. I didn't think this would do this. I thought one would go on top of the other. I was wrong. Well, it did go on top of the other, just not in the order I thought it was going to. So what I did, let me go ahead and undo this. So this is what I see, right? Okay. I would have thought that hello world, because it's going down, it's after this is the order it's in, would be on top of the gradient. I was mistaken, because if I comment out the gradient and save it, there's my hello world. So what I can do, because I want to see it and I want to see this at the same time, I can change the coordinates of it. So I can make this 100 and 200. Now, where is it? Or it just won't work. It should work, I would think. Let's try this again. Let's try something different. So I got width and height. Okay, X and Y is what I'm wanting to think, not necessarily width and height. So let's do that. What happens if I comment this out? Oh, it does change. That's right. That's weird. I don't know why this is preventing anything else from happening, but I'm going to go ahead and keep that sucker commented out because it's annoying me. And I don't know why that's doing that, but moving on. Okay. If you really need it for some reason for both things to appear on one particular canvas, for whatever the reason, go to Stack Overflow or something and see why. I have no idea. You have to kind of pick and choose where you want to invest your time in your battles, and that's not a battle worth pursuing. So doing strokeText now. Var strokeText equals document, get elements by ID, my canvas, var ctx, which is the context, strokeText, which refers to this variable name, get content equals 2D, ctx, font equals 30 pixels, Arial, ctx, stroke text equals, well, not equals, open parentheses, hello world again, 1050. Oops, forgot a comma. 1050. Okay. So let's see how this works. I'm curious as why it's not letting anything else work. Maybe that's not an issue. Okay. Because I've done this before and it allowed multiple things to work. Let's see. So strokeText, document get element by ID, my canvas, ctx, strokeText, get content. Is it content or context? Context. My bad. text. There we go. See, two things work at the same time. I don't know why Gradient's being stupid. So that's how you do that. And then you saw me just do another typo. It was context and not content. Those are the typos that will drive you batshit. Until you just get used to doing the visual and looking through it, kind of knowing where you usually have your typos. Okay, so let's go over that. They're very similar, you'll notice, between drawText and strokeText. The only difference is strokeText, it just has the outline of it, as opposed to like the fill. Like you can see here, like this is filled, this is just the outline. If you could get like a little funny with it, and so I'm going to copy this same text, that as words. Hello world. So my location XY is 100, 100. Let's see if I make this 90 and 90. Okay, so it kind of looks like a little graphic thing with the words. They can play with that if you want a little bit closer. 95. There you go. So if you want some sort of effect like that, I don't know what that's called, offset or whatever. Maybe graphic design people know. I don't. You can play with that. Let's try 98. 98. There you go. So that's kind of cool. I don't know what's called, but it's kind of cool, like a shadow or something. Anyways, so let's kind of review what these texts are. Okay, so when you draw text on canvas, the most important properties are the font. For us, it's Arial. Let's see, yeah. For the font, I got Arial, and the size is 30 pixels. The filled text, it draws the filled text on the canvas. So filled is the keyword there. strokeText, it draws the text on the canvas without the fill. So without is the keyword there, just the outline of the text. So the way that you fill it in is the text you want it to read. In our example was hello world, and the X coordinate and the Y coordinate. And you saw me kind of playing with the strokeText to give it like a shadowy kind of thing. So you saw, us doing that, and you saw the typos that I make. Like I misspelled the variable name here, and then when I called it, it didn't work because I misspelled it here. So we got a variable we're declaring with the word var, the name of our variable. We're telling our document to get the element by ID of my canvas, which is again up here whenever we created our canvas in HTML. Let's see. CTX is the kind of like the default thing for variable for context. Text content, which is again our variable name. We're telling it to get the context of 2D. And I think somewhere up here, it's just I went over more of this with the first Canvas tutorial. It coordinates it. The coordinates are two-dimensional. The XY coordinates are two-dimensional, which is the 2D grid. Hence 2D. So we have our context, which is declared with this variable here. Our font, we're telling it what we want it to be. It's 30 pixels in Arial. CTX, against the context. Fill the text. This is doing the solid text. Hello world, and then that's our X and Y coordinates. And don't forget the comma. You saw me forget the comma a few times. And then for the strokeText is very similar. Declared the variable name. We're telling our document to get the element by ID, my canvas. Declaring the variable of context with CTX. We're telling it we're going to do a strokeText. Well, we're calling the variable strokeText, which is what was declared up here. Get context 2D because it's two-dimensional coordinates. Now we got our context again, which is right here. Our font, we're doing 30 pixels Arial. They can be whatever you want. It could be 100 pixels. I don't care. Now we're doing context again, and we're telling it we want the stroke text. So this is the biggest difference between this. This will tell it it's going to be solid. This is going to be just the outline. And then we would put whatever we want. Yes, the words, and then the X and Y coordinates. And oh, that should not be drawing text. Okay, that's next. We'll talk about that here in just a second. I got a typo there on that document. But okay, so that's drawing text. So now we're going to get to drawing image. That's what that should be on Canvas. So let's go ahead and practice that. Okay. So for the draw image, we're going to go back to HTML a little bit. We're going to play with that to give it a separate canvas on our web page. So I'm back in the HTML before the opening script. All of our JavaScript is being done on the same page as HTML. So before the opening script, and so we're still on the body. Let's go ahead and draw the image. So for the image to use in HTML, that's what we're getting ready to do here. So you can see I just commented that out for instructions. I don't need to capitalize those P's. Okay, and image to use. Image ID equals, I'm going to look up kittens. Oh, ID needs to be in quotes. Kittens. Kittens. And source, I'm just going to go on Google and look for some kittens and just copy the image source. Right click, copy image address. You can pick whatever image you want, but it does need to be in quotes, and copy that URL. So you can see it's kittens.com, which is where I went, and yada, yada, yada. It's a JPEG. Then I can declare the height, or the width and the height, the attributes width equals, say I want it to be 200. Height is 300. Okay, so closing that image tag with that closing bracket. I want to go ahead, hit save and refresh and see what this looks like. Okay, that kittens looks a little warped, so I need to change my dimensions. So let's do that from 200 to 400. That looks better. Yeah, that's good enough. So now let's do our canvas to fill. Go ahead and comment this. Create a canvas to fill. So we're going to do our P tag canvas to fill. Our canvas ID equals my canvas. I'll just do my kittens canvas. There we go. The width of it is going to be, I know the height and the width of my image because I have it right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and make it just a tad bit larger than that. Okay, and then I'm going to give it a style for my border. Non-pixel, black, solid. And you see me typing this stuff, but you also don't see me looking at my notes. This is not stuff that I know off the top of my head until I write it down, and then I still have to look at my notes. So just be aware of those things. Those are the things you may not see behind the scenes in tutorials and stuff. So I got this right here. Close my canvas tag. And now I'm going to do a button. On click, we're doing an event listener called on click, which is a JavaScript thing. And we are going to do I want to name it my kittens canvas. It's going to be a function that I'll be declaring later on. And the button is going to say, try it. Okay. So it's going to get rid of this. It's going to say try it. Right now it doesn't do anything because we haven't actually created and declared our function. So you can see this is what's going to happen though. We have an image here, and this is going to be the canvas it's going to fill. So let's work on our JavaScript to actually make the image appear when we click on that button. So turning the page on my notes. So we're going to declare a function by the word function. And we named our, what do we name it? My kittens canvas. My kitten canvas. Okay. I'm gonna make that kittens as in plural. My kittens canvas. There we go. Kittens canvas. It's going to be a function, and this is what's going to happen in our function. We got, this is where we start drawing the image. Declaring a variable using, and we're going to name the variable kittens image equals document, get element by ID. And what was the name of our canvas on this one? So this is the second canvas that I created. And I named it My Kittens Canvas. And I need to put quotes around that. So now we're going to declare our context, var ctx, kittens image, dot get context, 2D for being two-dimensional. We're going to, let's see, we're going to declare the variable, I think, with image, document, get element by ID. And what did I name that picture? What was the ID on the picture? So here's the image. The image ID is kittens. And we're doing CTX, context, draw image, which is what we're doing to tell our JavaScript. It's the keywords, it's those special words. And it's going to be image 0, 0. So image is a reference to here. And then it's got our closing curly brackets. Okay, let's see if this worked. So hit try it. It worked. My dimensions are a little off, but it worked. Let's see. Let's see if I changed this and what would it do? It should just change the position. I don't know why it's smaller. It just changes the position of it. There may be some things that we can do to change the actual size of it. Again, it's one of those things that if you really need to know, go online and Stack Overflow or something to look it up. And Because you got to kind of pick and choose your battles. If you really need to know something, that's how you're going to learn it whenever you need to know it. I don't need to know it right now. But anyways, so that's how we do a few more of the let's go ahead and the Word document. So draw an image on canvas. It draws an image on the canvas. It's done with the draw image keywords, which is down here. An example below requires the first snippet to be added to HTML, which is what we did. We kind of set the place for where our image is going to appear. So for image to use, I did it similar to what you saw. Some kittens, got an image somewhere. I forgot to do the alt. You should do the alt. Best practices. Alt, 2 kittens. That way, if somebody's using a screen reader, they can see that it's a picture of 2 kittens. Hold on. We got dogs outside and it's getting ready to storm. Okay, I'm back. Forgot where I was at. Okay, so then we had our canvas. I just named it in this example, my canvas 2. So it's really anything that you want. I did in the example that you saw me do here, my kitten's canvas, because it was more explanatory of what the intent was. So you want to use good naming. Then you have the width and the height and stuff. And then this was how we had a new button calling using the event listener of onClick, my canvas, and then the button said try it, and then closing the button tag. And here's the JavaScript portion of it. We declared a function of my canvas, which was right here. And let's see, for the var image, it was document get element by ID based off the canvas name. Var CTX was the image of get context of 2D for 2-dimensional. The image was document get element by ID, kittens, which was the image ID for the source right here. And then we did the draw image thing. So that's going to be the end for us practicing Canvas. If you want more about Canvas, like some of the things where I said, I don't know, it's not a battle worth pursuing right now, W3 Schools, I think, is an easy enough reference, easy enough point of reference to learn more about it. And there's things I haven't even covered, like this clock stuff. I don't know. But, play with it. The best way to learn this stuff is just have a need for it. And because if you're just creating it just because it's an assignment, it's kind of boring and not fun. But when you find a need for it, it's whenever you're going to really learn. So, yeah. Okay, that's it for this particular video. Thank you.